Welcome to all the devotees today. We are going to read from chapter number 16 of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. As of now, we have learned about the struggle of Srila Prabhupada in America until chapter number 15. So Prabhupada ji started his journey to America on on August 13th, 1965, and by Jaladuta he reached to New York. From New York he traveled by bus to Butler, Pennsylvania, which is the place where the sponsors of Srila Prabhupada, Mr. Gopal Agarwal and his wife Sally Agarwal were staying. On the Jaladuta, Prabhupada ji got two massive heart attacks. He survived somehow. Then he came to Butler. In Butler, he stayed at Agarwal's home, and there he used to talk to all the guests who used to visit to the Agarwal's home. And Prabhupada used to stay at YMCA, their guest house. He stayed there for a month, and there were some restrictions at the Agarwal's home while he was staying there. They were also eating meat, and there were some other things which Prabhupada could not preach there freely. So then Prabhupada thought that it's 1 month. He had 2 months visa. So after 1 month, he thought that he should travel to New York, where he knew Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra, who was a yoga teacher. So by bus from Butler, he went to New York. And in the New York, he arrived at Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's yoga ashram. And initially, he stayed in an apartment where Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra was staying. But then afterwards, he was shifted into a yoga studio, which was owned by Mr. Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra. And this is that building in New York, which is 100 West and 72nd Street near Central Park. This is the building where Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra had ashram, not ashram, the yoga studio actually. So in that yoga studio, Srila Prabhupada ji stayed. First, that was a room which was owned by Ramamurthy Mishra. This was an office room. There was no bathroom, nothing in that. And then Prabhupada ji, it was in kind, supported by Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra. And Srila Prabhupada every day used to walk from this particular room in this building to the apartment, which was few blocks away from this building, for bathroom using, because there was no bathroom here in this building, in this room. So for using a shower, for cooking, so he used to walk every day. You imagine this is a 1965 December. It's a winter time, right? Prabhupada ji coming from India and wearing a dhoti. He's not Western. He's not using the Western clothes. He's wearing a dhoti. He has a simple pair of shoes, which are like a white rubber shoes type of thing, and not a winter shoes. He has just little cap here on his head, and Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra gave him a jacket, a coat, right? That's it. Prabhupada doesn't have a gloves, no special winter wears, and Prabhupada ji has not compromised on his clothing or on his diet, or in fact of his Vedic way of living. He has not compromised. Even many so-called yogis or preachers in America advised Srila Prabhupada to adopt a Western way of living. Prabhupada ji did not accept their suggestion, and he wear the simple dhoti, right? This is like a winter. There is a snowstorm happening. There's lots of wind, and he's running up and down on the block in the New York City for from his place of accommodation to the place where Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra was staying. Also, Prabhupada ji used to visit various libraries, government offices, various places to distribute his Srimad Bhagavatam while he was in America. In during this couple of months after his arrival, actually he doesn't have any source of income for his support, and he is distributing the books, which is his main source of income. You see, this is Prabhupada's strategy. After arrival also, like, he has got 200 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam with him, first three volumes. So he's distributing these volumes and generating some Lakshmi for his survival. And Prabhupada ji, while he was staying in this building, which is of Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's yoga studio, um, he was not allowed to speak freely about Krishna consciousness. There were restrictions on Prabhupada ji. Uh, he was only allowed to do kirtan. That's it. No talking about Krishna there. And Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra, he was uh, he was to some, I'd say, Shankara follower, right? So Shankaracharya, so a lot of Mayavad philosophy he was following. So Prabhupada ji had arguments um, with Ramamurthy Mishra about uh, about the philosophy of Mayavad. And in this way, Prabhupada ji had restrictions while he was teaching or while he was staying there at Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's room, in the yoga room. But now he decides that he wants to move out from there because he is not allowed to preach, for which he is here. So he rents of his own a separate room in the same building. And he rents a small, unfurnished office room, right? Uh, Now, this office room is room number 307 of the same building. It was a small, narrow office which was not intended for residential purpose or any yoga ashram purpose. And it had no furniture, no telephone, no basic facilities like cooking or bathing. It was a small, dark room. And the rent of that room was $72 per month without any adequate facilities. He slept on the floor and used a metal locker as a desk, makeshift desk, and he used to walk daily to Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's apartment for cooking and bathing, and he used to cook for Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra also at that time. And he could, this $72 monthly rent, he used to pay by distributing this Srimad Bhagavatam, three sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, first three volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Mamta ji, welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada ji is staying alone in New York. His rent of that small room is $72, and he's distributing this first three volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, which he got it from India. That was like $16.72 was the cost of that first three volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he used to distribute that and collect the Lakshmi and pay the rent, right? So book distribution has been the source of income for Prabhupada ji from day one. We can see Prabhupada ji surviving. So very hard life in New York, right? Small unfurnished office space, no light, no much facility there, and he's paying. He's staying independently now. He doesn't want to stay with Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's yoga studio because he's not allowed to speak there. So he's living independently, faced increased expenses, reduced comforts, and relying solely on the sale of books for his maintenance and monthly rent of $72. He has a lot of financial struggles. He already has health trouble. Prabhupada is not healthy at this time. He has got two massive heart attacks on Jaladuta, and he has stayed at strangers' places while after coming to America. Old man in his 69 years of age, no money, no proper place to stay. He has been doing this struggle since 1956 while he took sannyas. That's actually it's a long, long time. It's now it's 1966 January, and he is still continuing his struggle, right? Uh, but his desire is to spread Krishna consciousness. He wanted to come to America to spread the message of Lord Krishna by the order of his spiritual master. So, in spite of all these struggles, he is surviving. He wanted a place where while he was in New York also at Ramamurti Mishra's ashram, he used to go around and give a talk. But this was like a one-time talk. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to have a place where people can come and on a regularly basis they chant Hare Krishna mantra. He wanted a place where people can take prasadam, where people can hear and read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And for that purpose, as we learned in the previous chapters, Prabhupada wrote quite a few letters to his god brothers in India. He said, "Can you please send me some Lakshmi, send me some help?" He wrote to some famous businessmen there in India, uh, like including Mrs. Morarji, to help him to establish the Krishna Conscious Temple here in New York. But nobody showed him the desire to help. Even the government of India, even if somebody was willing to send the money to New York, first there was Lal Bahadur Shastri as a prime minister. Uh, he was willing to help Srila Prabhupada because he was well-wisher of Prabhupada and Prabhupada ji had met him personally. But Lal Bahadur Shastri died accidentally in a plane accident. And after that, Indira Gandhi became the prime minister of India. And India was also going through its own financial problems. So Indira Gandhi refused to transfer money from India to America to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote quite a few letters to Prime Minister's office that time, but nothing happened, and no requests were approved of Srila Prabhupada for transferring the money from India to America. Uh, and Prabhupada also requested his god brothers, please send some people, send some mridangam here because I want it for preaching. But his god brothers also, they did not cooperate with him. So Prabhupada is struggling all alone by himself. Now his visa is also expiring, right? And he wrote a letter to Mrs. Morarji. So Mrs. Morarji said that you can stay in America and recoup from your health and finish the task for which you have come to America. So Prabhupada's mission is to establish a center, Krishna Consciousness Center in America. No help is coming from India. He's struggling by himself and he's looking for a space. So first space he rented of his own was in that big apartment building, which was $70 a month. And he's distributing the books and collecting the money. But at least now he has a place where people can come and talk to him freely, and he can speak about Krishna consciousness freely without any restrictions, right? Uh, and his audience at this time is the people from Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's yoga studio. They come to Prabhupada, right? Because Prabhupada ji has been the part of Dr. Ramamurthy's yoga studio there. Somebody gifted him a tape recorder at Dr. Ramamurthy's yoga place. And Prabhupada ji used it to record his bhajans and philosophical essay, which was Introduction to Gita-Upanishad. So he recorded his in his own voice on the recorder. And this was the first time he started using tape recorder, actually. And he was inspired by spiritual master's instruction, uh, even if nobody attended. So while he was in the dark, in that room, small room, very small, narrow room, uh, without any facilities, and there was nobody in the room, but Prabhupada gave to lecture by himself to him, to the four walls, because instruction by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was that even if there is nobody to listen to you, do not worry, just speak it for the pleasure of Krishna. So Prabhupada used to speak by himself, uh, and he recorded Introduction to Gita Upanishad just by himself. And then he advertised that, okay, he will have classes there of Bhagavad Gita on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings at this uh, uh, small room without any furniture, without any facilities. We're just staying there. So thrice a week he wanted to give classes there, so he advertised accordingly. But his determination to share Krishna's message remained very, very strong despite uncertainty of attendance. He was not sure who will come, but he kept on preaching there in that small place in New York. Now, as I said before, that his audience mainly consisted of people who had heard about him or met him at Dr. Mishra's yoga studio. And his room was not proper, but some people used to visit him very regularly. And this motivated Srila Prabhupada, this meeting even few people who used to come to meet him at his new room, where they used to talk about Krishna Katha. So this motivated Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ji is deriving energy, strength from the small happenings in his life, like he's meeting, distributing the books, trying to give one or two lectures here and there. So in this way, he's getting some inspiration of spreading Krishna consciousness. He writes a letter to Mrs. Morarji while he's there at the yoga studio, not yoga studio, at his own now small room which is rented. Vidura Prabhu, you want to read this letter?
Sure, Prabhuji. A letter to Sumati Morarji. I was very much encouraged when you wrote to say, I feel that you should stay there until you fully recover from your illness and return only after you have completed your mission. I think these lines dictated by you are the words of Lord Balakrishna expressed through your goodness.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So while he is in America, in New York, he writes a letter to Mrs. Morarji. Initially, also he wrote quite a few letters to him, requesting him for the help and mridangam and money for the temple, but not much reply came from Mrs. Morarji also. But now he's writing a letter of his update. Uh, Initially, when he came, he had a heart attack and he was not feeling well. Mrs. Morarji wrote him back saying that you should stay there until you fully recover, and you complete your mission. So Srila Prabhupada is writing back to her saying that, oh, this is Lord Krishna speaking through you to ask me to stay here as long as I can recover and complete my mission, for extending his visa actually. So he is staying there. Um, then further, Sujata Mata, you want to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can. You will be pleased to know that I have improved my health back to normal, and my mission work is nicely progressing. I hope my project to start a temple of Sri Radha Krishna will also be realized by the grace of the Lord.
Thank you so much. So he's saying that my missionary work is progressing nicely. And what is happening? He has no place to take a shower. He has no place to cook. He's just staying in a bare necessities of a small room without furniture, no bed, no mattress, nothing. He's sleeping on the floor literally. He has no proper clothing, but he's saying, I'm doing okay, I'm doing nice actually. And I want to establish a temple of Radha Krishna. The person who doesn't have a food to eat, he is barely surviving, but his desire is to have a temple of Radha Krishna. And he says it will happen. Uh, so, unbelievable faith and strength of Srila Prabhupada. Further, he writes here, Mamtaji, you want to read?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, yes. A letter yes, a letter to Srimati Mahorari. Since I have came to New York from Butler, Pennsylvania, have rented the above room at $70 per month, and am delivering lecture on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, accompanied by a Sanskrit and the American ladies and gentlemen come to hear me. You will be surprised to know that they do not understand the language of Sanskrit, yet they hear it attention. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada is writing that he has rented a room and some Americans are coming to listen to him, even though they do not understand any language of Sankirtan language of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but they are still persistingly listening to him. Venkata Prabhu is there?
No, Prabhu is not yet
Okay,
here.
no problem.
He went
You,
outside, Prabhu. He
you
has some
can you can read this next part of the letter.
A letter to Srimati Mataji. The movement which I have started here is completely new to them because the Americans are generally acquainted with the Indian yoga gymnastics as performed by some Indian yogis here. They have never heard of the bhakti cult of the science of Krishna before, and still they are hearing me. This is a great success for me.
Thank you. So Americans were used to yoga concept, but they are yoga asanas. They used to know yoga as asana. But then Prabhupada ji is teaching them about Krishna consciousness, which was very new to them, but still they're enthusiastic and listening Srila Prabhupada very patiently. The early followers of Srila Prabhupada were the audience, the people whom he met through Dr. Mishra's Yoga Society, and occasional attendance from his lectures at Sanskrit classes or cultural societies. So, this Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra, he was actually a medical doctor, but then he was a Sanskrit scholar also. And later on, he gave up his medical practice and became full time yoga and Sanskrit teacher. And that time also in America, 1965, there were many of those yogis, so-called yogis, coming from India to America, and people were listening to them. They were making good amount of money. They had their own buildings, ashrams. They were getting a lot of success. So Prabhupada ji knew that there is a potential for Krishna consciousness because people had appetite. So some of those people, like Ramamurthy Mishra, had an ashram away from his big building, a yoga studio. He had an ashram called Ananda Ashram. So Prabhupada used to go there on the weekends and meet the people there. He used to meet the people at Dr. Ramamurthy's yoga studio. And he also used to meet the people outside the studio. So the Prabhupada ji was developing his contacts and then inviting them for Bhagavad Gita class at his new independently rented small office room, right? And his this environment, the furniture was not much, modest environment of his lectures. Prabhupada's teaching began to attract some interested individuals. and some of them were younger attendees. He connected with through the Lower East Side of Paradox Restaurant. So there was a in that area there was a restaurant which was called Paradox, and this Paradox Restaurant, quite a few people of uh, yoga, diet, and you know alternative way of living. Those people used to come to this place. It's called Paradox Restaurant, and they used to talk and meet and greet. So Prabhupada ji also got connected to them also. Like there were some places where Prabhupada ji focused on. So this is one of the lecture he is giving uh, to the devotees who are not devotees but the attendees who attend his lectures at his newly rented office room. It's not a really office room, but a new rented room. And he's teaching them about Krishna Katha. He's talking to them about Bhagavad Gita. And now here is one of the conversation between Prabhupada and one of the attendees. Okay, so Prabhupada is teaching about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada's voice is uh, he's like old man. He's got a little sickness also. So his voice is not very loud, but very humble voice, you can say. And he is in a Bengali accent speaking to Americans. So even though he had a good vocabulary, Americans had sometimes difficulty in understanding his accent. So he's giving a lecture and suddenly pauses his lecture and addresses someone in the room. So here is that lecture. So Prabhupada is asking that person, what is that? So the person says, what? Prabhupada says, what is this book? Because Prabhupada is giving a lecture, a class, and this man is opening a book and reading while Prabhupada is giving a class. So Prabhupada says, what is that book? So man says, oh, this is translation of Bhagavad Gita. Now Prabhupada has not published his own Bhagavad Gita as it is as of now. So he is giving the classes without any published book. We are so lucky we have Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everything here by Prabhupada. But Prabhupada, when giving a class on Bhagavad Gita, doesn't have his own Bhagavad Gita. So this man brings a Bhagavad Gita from outside. So and while Prabhupada is giving a class, the man is reading Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is saying, then Prabhupada is obviously displeased that while he is speaking, this man is looking through a book. This hardly likes a respect offered to learned speakers, as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada says to that man while he was trying to read a book during the Prabhupada's lecture, Prabhupada says, well, no, you can hear me. Man says, I'm hearing. Prabhupada says, yes, don't turn your attention, just hear me. You see, Prabhupada, now this man, American man, has not accepted Prabhupada yet as guru or teacher, spiritual master. But Prabhupada is teaching him or training him just like a guru. So he's saying that, oh, while you are listening to your spiritual master or a guru or a teacher, you should give complete attention. You should not get distracted. So he's taking a role as a teacher and correcting the student, right? Of course, there is no compelling reason why any of his casual guest should feel obliged to hear him. He simply begs for their attention and yet demands, just hear me. He attempts to convince them of Krishna consciousness. So he's teaching them how to listen, how to read, and he's telling them about all the spiritual aspects. Like one of the lectures, Prabhupada is telling them about importance of spiritual master. So Prabhupada is emphasizing in his lectures in that small room that having a genuine spiritual master is essential for spiritual progress. And he described them how one should select a guide or guru very carefully, avoiding being misled by so many unnecessary bogus fake gurus. So he's telling in this lecture about spiritual master. Vidura Prabhu, you want to read this importance of a spiritual master paragraph by Srila Prabhupada?
Yes, Prabhupada. Importance of a spiritual master. You have heard that one must accept the spiritual master after careful examination, just as one selects a bride or a bridegroom after careful examination. In India, they are very careful because the marriage because the marriage of boys and girls takes place under the guidance of parents. So the parents very carefully see to it. Similarly, one has to accept the spiritual master. It is necessary. According to Vedic injunctions, everyone should have a spiritual master. Perhaps you have seen a sacred thread. We have got sacred thread, Mr. Cohen. You have seen sacred thread?
Thank you, Roji. So here Prabhupada is giving a lecture, a class to the audience, and one of them is Mr. Cohen uh, in that small room, and he's talking about importance of spiritual master. Like when you are getting married, you select your uh, life partner very carefully. Similarly, one has to accept the spiritual master very carefully. And then he's talking about this Brahman Diksha, the thread sacred thread, which a spiritual master offers to the disciple. So he's training them how to have a spiritual master. But he's free to preach now. He's talking what he exactly wanted to give it message to his audience. Prabhupadaji's room, in room number 307 in New York. Uh, uh, he is speaking completely about Krishna Katha, nothing else. And he's saying that we should always remember that Krishna is God. Krishna is all powerful. In strength, no one could conquer him. Now, you see, these people, Americans, have never heard about Krishna, and he's talking to them about Krishna. Uh, in the beauty, as far as the beauty is concerned, when he was on the battlefield, have you seen any of the pictures of Krishna? Have you seen? Have any of you ever seen Krishna? Oh, no. So you see, the audience, which to him he is speaking all about Krishna Gada, have never heard about Krishna in their lifetime. But Prabhupada is not compromising. Nowadays also we see a lot of so-called preachers. They are doing preaching without including Krishna in there. They are talking about moral aspects. But Prabhupada ji is never, never, ever hidden Krishna in his preachings. He never gave indirect preaching. He always talked directly about Krishna Katha. And now he should not be worried because now there are no constraints which were there in Butler or in the yoga studio of Dr. Mishra. He's free to speak. So he's speaking absolute truth, right? Throughout his life, he was preparing for this. Uh, like all this time in his life, he was preparing to come to America. Now he has got his own place and he's got an audience. So now uh, he's trying to tell them the truth, and he's still discovering how to present Krishna consciousness in the best possible way to the Western audience, right? And he's understanding them, and he's also understanding and learning from them, uh, like, and he's talking to them about Krishna. Unlike millions of people in India who worship Krishna daily, these people, he's talking to them about Krishna, and they have a blank expression. They have never heard about Krishna. But Prabhupada continued as Krishna devotee, and he continued to give the message of Krishna consciousness to these people. He's talking one time about sacred place. Like he's talking about different topics. So now he talks about holy places in India. So he's telling to one of his attendees in that room. He's saying, "I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavan, that sacred place. But then, why are you here? Now, because it is my duty, I have brought some message for you people. because I have been ordered by my superior, my spiritual master. Whatever you have learned, you should go to the Western countries and you must distribute this knowledge. So, in spite of all my difficulties, all my inconveniences, I am here in America because I am obliged by duty. If I go and sit down in Vrindavan, that will be good for my personal experiences. I shall be very comfortable there and I will have no anxiety, nothing of that sort. But I have taken this all risk in this old age because I am duty bound. I am duty bound. So I have executed my duty despite all my inconveniences. So Prabhupada is remembering his Vrindavan days. He said, I would be much happy in Vrindavan, but what can I say? I am here because I am duty bound. My spiritual master has asked me to come to America, so I'm here, and I'm sacrificing all my health, everything what I have for Krishna Katha. Hare Krishna Venkata Prabhu, welcome.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Saraj Janle, Tandarpana.
Dandot
Yes,
Prabhu,
Lord.
welcome. Nice to see you. So Prabhupada ji is giving a class in his room about various topics. He's talking about Krishna. He's talking about spiritual master. He's talking about holy places like Vrindavan, and he's remembering Vrindavan also. He's missing Vrindavan. What can we say, right? Because the sannyasi staying there, coming to America, struggling like this, he is obviously going to miss in India for sure. Vrindavan for sure. One of his follower at that time was Robert Nilsson. This is a 20-year-old boy, 20. He is not he's not a yoga enthusiast or anything like that, but he's a person, you can say a lonely person uh, who was interested in knowing more about God. He was not good at Sanskrit. He was not a hippie. He was not addicted to any drugs. He was like a simple, lonely man trying to learn about God. And he met Srila Prabhupada in New York, sometimes in some of the meetings actually. So he says here, uh, after a meeting in New York, he attended one of the meetings. So afterwards, he says, after the meeting, afterwards I went to him. He had a big smile and he said that he likes young people to take Krishna consciousness. He was very serious about it. He wanted all young people. So I thought that was very nice. It made sense. So I wanted to help Srila Prabhupada. So Robert Nilsson, he met Srila Prabhupada in one of his guest lectures. So Robert says, Robert Nilsson actually, he remembers quite a few of these Srila Prabhupada incidences. So after the meeting, then Robert was invited by Prabhupada to his room 307 in New York. And Prabhupadaji's room was clearly not intended to serve as a living quarters because there was no toilet, no shower, no chair, no bed, no telephone. The walls were painted dark, a dismal color. This is not a proper place to stay. And Prabhupada asked him to sit on the floor. And then Prabhupada showed Robert 3 volume set of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Robert purchased that Bhagavatam for $16.50. And then Prabhupada handed him a small piece of paper with Hare Krishna Mahamantra printed on it. And he gave it to Robert. Robert, you chant this and read Srimad Bhagavatam like that, right? So, and then Srila Prabhupada and Robert, they walking around together for whole day, trying to distribute the books as well as meeting the people. But then at the end of the day, they get tired. So they want to have some rest. Now, where do we take rest, right? So Robert recollects his. Venkata Prabhu, you want to read this, Venkata Prabhu?
Sure, Prabhu. Rest. We spent the whole day together. At one point, he said, we are going to take his sleep. So he lay down there by his little desk. So I said, I am tired too. So I lay down at the other end of the room and we rested. I just lay on the floor. It was the only place to do it. But he didn't rest that long, an hour and a half, I think.
and we spent the rest of the day together.
So they are traveling, they're walking all over. They don't have much. And then Prabhupada is tired, so they come back to that small room 307, which is a dark, dismal room, no furniture, nothing. Prabhupada is sleeping on the floor. Robert is sleeping at another corner of the room, and and Prabhupada ji just sleeps for like 1.5 hours because he's too tired, old man, right? And walking all the day long. So they take a rest there in the room. Then Robert further says, continue, Venkata Prabhu.
He was talking about the Lord Chaitanya and the Lord's pastimes, and he showed me a small picture of Lord Chaitanya. Then he started talking about the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda and Advaita. He had a picture of the five of them and a picture of his spiritual master. He said some things in Sanskrit and then he translated. It was not much of a room, though you had really be disappointed if you saw it.
Ah, you'd really be disappointed if you see how Srila Prabhupada was staying there. It's a small room, and he has the picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, his Panch Tattva, his picture of his Guru Maharaj, and he's staying in a very, very humble environment, right? Now, this Robert had a business of records. You know, records means like a big, those black vinyl records they used to have those times. And he's into the audio recording business. He had some experience of that. So Prabhupada ji thought that maybe we can record some of these Krishna songs, bhajans, and publish it. So from his experience in the record business, Mr. Robert, as Swamiji called him, developed a scheme to produce a record of Swamiji singing. So people were always putting out albums with almost anything on them. So Robert said, Prabhupada, why don't you sing and we will publish an album? so, uh, so it was a way he thought that he could help Swamiji, Srila Prabhupada. And he tried to convince Prabhupada of the idea. And Prabhupada didn't discourage Robert, who seemed eager to render this service, right? So Prabhupada ji said, okay, no problem, Robert will do that. So they went actually. So Robert says here, Vidura Prabhu, you want to read?
Record. Robert, me and the Swami went around to this record company on 46th Street. We went there and I started talking, and the man was all business. He was all business, and me, they go together. So we went in there with a tape and we tried talking to the man. Swami was talking, but the man said he couldn't put the tape out. I think he listened to the tape, but he wouldn't put it out. So we felt discouraged, but he didn't say much about it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So Robert thinks that, oh, maybe Prabhupada's singing bhajans could be published and people will buy it and can generate some Lakshmi out of it. So they went to a recording company, but that man didn't buy it. He didn't want to listen or publish the Prabhupada singing. But that they were discouraged, but that's okay. You know, this Prabhupada ji has faced many of this in his life before. Now, Prabhupada ji and Robert, they're wandering around, and what are they doing? They're actually finding a place for a temple. Can you imagine? This man, Srila Prabhupada ji, and this man, Robert, they are going from one place to another, and they want a bigger place for a temple of Lord Krishna. The income is only through book distribution for some of the books, and current rent is $70. Huh? So Robert is saying that, Mamta ji, you want to read this?
Hare, Hare Krishna. Yeah. But the screen is empty, Prabhuji. There's nothing.
Oh, you can't see it?
I don't see anything.
Okay,
Yeah, no.
maybe Venkata Prabhu, can you
And
see it?
but now I can see it.
Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
I can see it now, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Go ahead.
Temple. Robert. Once we went over to this big office building on 42nd Street and we went in there. The rent was thousands of dollars for a whole floor. So I was standing there talking to the man, but I did not understand how all this money would come. The Swami wanted a big place and I did not know what to tell the man.
You see, Prabhupada ji and Robert goes to see this big place. And the rent is like $5,000, $10,000 a month or something like that. And this Robert is saying, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to pay this rent now?" Because Robert is also a poor man. But Prabhupada ji wanted a big place for Radha Krishna. But big place means big price. And there was no money. Robert Nilsson was surviving on unemployment checks. But Prabhupada ji was interested. And he was still looking for a bigger place so that he can have a better place for spreading Krishna consciousness. So this is Prabhupada ji, when he said where the money would come, Prabhupada ji always used to think that Krishna will arrange something or other. Prabhupada ji had this desire. Robert further says, Venkata Prabhu?
Temple, Robert. The building was between 6th and Broadway on 42nd Street. Some place to open Krishna's temple. We went in and up to the second floor and saw the renting agent. And then we left. I think it was 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month. We got to a certain point and the money was too much. And then we left. When he brought up the prices, I figured we had better not. We had to stop.
So hearing $5,000, $10 a month, Robert said, now we are not going anymore looking at the places because we don't have money. How can we go and look at the places like this, right? So Robert said we have to stop somehow or other. But Prabhupada ji had always a desire. He says, on another occasion, Robert Nilsson took Prabhupada by bus to Hotel Columbia at 70 West 46th Street. The hotel had a suite that Prabhupada looked at possible use as a temple. So here you see, Prabhupada is exploring all the options. He's also trying to see if he can rent a hotel room for good. But there was no money. So Prabhupada ji had all this desire, but no Lakshmi coming through. We talk about this Paradox restaurant on the Lower East Side. And this restaurant was focused on microbiotic diet. People who are health conscious, they have a special type of diet. And this restaurant served that. So it was just more than a dining spot, actually. It was a spiritual and cultural hub where people gathered freely and it was just reminiscent of Greenwich Village cafes. And it was a mystical crowd drawn to Eastern teachings, quickly spread the news about new Swami Prabhupada uptown at Dr. Mishra's. So this all people who heard about this Swami, Srila Prabhupada, they used to talk about the Swami who is visiting at Dr. Mishra's studio. And these people were also at a Paradox restaurant, were interested in similar lifestyle. So there was one person, his name is Bill. And Bill says here, Vidura Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Bill, I was working at the Paradox one night when Harvey came to me and said, I went to Vishra and there's a new Swami there and he's really fantastic. Well, I was involved in the macrobiotics and Buddhism. So at first I couldn't care less, but Harvey was a winning and warm personality, and he seemed interested in this. He said, why don't you come uptown? I would like you to see this.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this audience at Dr. Mishra's place, they are helping Srila Prabhupada one way or other, and they are spreading the message of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in America to their friends, especially at this Paradox restaurant. There was a bill working, so he was invited by his friend Harvey. And there's another man, James. James says, It was really Harvey and Bill. So Bill invites Harvey, and then Harvey and Bill invites James, who got the things going. I remember one evening at Mishra's in which Swamiji was only a presence, but did not speak because Mishra didn't allow him to speak. Mishra's student seemed more into bodily aspect of yoga. This seemed to be one of the Swamiji's complaints. So James further says, when Swamiji invited them to the studio, Swamiji asked them to chant, and James says, we wouldn't chant, we just would come and he lecture. There was no direction other than the lecture on Bhagavad Gita. I had read a lot of literature, and in my own shy way, I was looking for a master. I think I have no aggression in me or getting quick quality. I was really just a listener, and this seemed right. Hearing the Bhagavad Gita, so I kept coming. It just seemed as if things would grow from there. More and more people began coming. Then it got crowded, and he had to find another place. So so James is describing that more people are coming in that small room where Bhakti Srila Prabhupada is giving a lecture, and the room became very, very crowded. So they had to find another place for Srila Prabhupada. Now this small room is not enough. Now during this time, there is shift in the audience. So first audience, as we learned, the people from Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's, then these people from this Paradox restaurant. But now there is a sudden change in the audience. The new group from the Paradox was young and hip, in contrast to the older, more conservative uptown people who had seen attending the Prabhupada's classes in the beginning at the Dr. Ramamurthy Mishra's place. There were old people, but now these are young people at the Paradox restaurant. In those days, it was still unusual to see a person with long hair and beard, and when such people started coming to Swami's meeting on the west side, some of the older people were alarmed. As one of them noted, Swami Bhaktivedanta began to pick up another kind of people. He picked them up at the Bowery or some attics, and they came with funny hats, gray blankets wrapped around themselves, and they startled me. So here, this is now from Paradox restaurant, the people who were into the diet and all, somehow Prabhupada came into contact with the people from the lower Bowery areas who had long hairs, like so-called hippies, So they came into contact with Srila Prabhupada, and they were not so well-to-do with the financially. So new audience, the David Allen, a 21-year-old seeker who came up from Paradox, had just moved to the city, optimistically attracted by what he had read about experimentation with drugs. He saw the old groups as a kind of first budgety group of older men on the west side listening to the Swami's lecture. But now there is a mix of audience right now. So now this new audience, David says, we weren't known as hippies then, but it was strange for people who had originally been attracted to him. It was different for them to relate to this new group. I think most of the teachers from the India up to that time had older followers, and sometimes wealthy widows would provide a source of income. But Swamiji changed right away to the younger, poor group of people. So here is the new audience attending Srila Prabhupada's classes on his room number 307 in New York. And this audience is a different kind of audience than the previous ones. So then there is a concern also by a prior audience that, who are these people with the long hairs and moving into these lectures? But then now, here is the final paragraph of this, that the room is becoming small. The audience is a different kind of audience, the young, poor audience, young but economically poor, not well-to-do. So then there's the move for relocation of Srila Prabhupada, because the space is not enough and it's not the right kind of place for the audience. So, Vidura Prabhu, you want to read this?
Yes, definitely. Relocation. The next thing that happened was that Bill Epstein and others began talking about how it would be better for the Swami to come downtown to the Lower East Side. Things were really happening down there, and somehow they were not happening uptown. People downtown really needed him. Downtown was right, and it was right. There was life down there. There was a lot of energy going around. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So now, all the audience who is coming from the lower Bowery side, from the downtown side, there's a lot of young people there. So, and they thought that maybe it's time for Srila Prabhupada to relocate from this uptown to downtown. So, so that's where the Prabhupada is. Now he has got some traction to his movement. People are listening. He has his own small place. And hopefully Prabhupada could get more and more followers from there. And we'll learn more about it, how he did all this in the next few lectures. So thank you, Prabhuji. Any take home from this you want to share, Prabhuji?
If I can add,
Vidura Prabhu, go ahead, Vidura Prabhu.
no, Venkat Prabhuji can go.
Oh, Venkat Prabhu, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay, Prabhu, you can go. Vidura Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhu. So, yeah, I joined in the middle, but I see Prabhupada, like, even though not disappointed, like, he has a vision of getting the temple and all, right? But still positivity and keep things going on. And also, he sees the young blood, basically, they are poor, but he sees the vision, like how they can help his mission and attracted to them. That I like it.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Yes, so nice of you. Yes, Vidura Prabhu, go ahead.
Yes, what I wanted to mention is like in Mangala Charan, we always read, Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Deen Bandhu, Jagatpate. So Krishna is totally Deen Bandhu. That's why, and Srila Prabhupada was kind of Deen at that time, and his audience was, the true audience which was coming there was also Deen.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Prabhupada ji is really struggling very hard during this time. I don't know how he could do that. This is the old, 70 years age, going through this hardship and seeing nothing, no light at the end of the tunnel. But still, he's keep on going. So that's really encouraging. Sujata Mata, you want to say something? You're muted.
Yes, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada was thinking about a place for Krishna, not even a place, a bigger place for Krishna, and where there is no place for him to live and there is no food for him to eat. Still, he is thinking of spreading Krishna consciousness, and he is trying to feed other people also.
See, such a wonderful thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
how can you think about it when you do not have your own thing settled there? But is
Yes.
thinking all the time about Krishna, right? Such a spectacular. Mamta Mataji, you want to say something?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, takeaway from me is that if we want to do something, we have to just focus and focus, doesn't matter what it comes in our way, right? And Prabhupada was so focused, doesn't matter health, wealth, even, both he didn't have it. Still he was focused to expand and he succeeded, right? So what we are seeing today.
Yes. And what I understand is that what is helping Srila Prabhupada throughout is that Srimad Bhagavatam. You see that? He has this printed 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is his energy to distribute those Bhagavatam sets. Those Bhagavatams, Krishna is helping him through Srimad Bhagavatam actually. So he's distributing the Bhagavatam, generating some Lakshmi for his survival. He now has his own place of $70, $72 a month. And he still has this enthusiasm to invite people, talk about Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. I think he's getting all this energy and strength from this Bhagavatam. Actually, Bhagavatam has a lot of strength and power. If we regularly read and hear Bhagavatam Katha of Srila Prabhupada, actually, Srimad Bhagavatam, what Prabhupada ji has produced for us is everything, actually. So